folks, I'm here with Andy Bederman. He just won one of the most coveted prizes here at the NTL event. So how did that feel last night?
It was great. It was great. I have to tell you, I've been marketing legal services since 1985. The ad that I did with Open Jar was really unlike anything I've ever done. It was truly a branding spot, but so completely different than my traditional messaging.
So for a video like that, which obviously won an award, talk us through the process of going from start to finish with a video like that.
I just met Adam Warren of Open Jar, who's a great guy. We've become good friends. And he had some ideas that he shared with me and with which I agreed. And other than that, I just sort of showed up. And I honestly I knew what we were going to shoot, but I didn't know what to expect. And when I got there, it was fascinating, really. So I wasn't terribly involved. I was the actor. I was there with 20 extras since the play was on my height, which I've done in DC. It was a wonderful experience, I have to say.
On a social media perspective, taking your success with the amazing ads that you created this year, how do you see kind of taking this momentum and putting it on social? Are you thinking in that area?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I have a legacy brand in DC, and it was built on television and radio primarily. But a lot of my social media stuff is really mass tort. To give you some background and perspective.
Yep.
I've shown this ad to a lot of young people who work for me. I've shown it to friends. We're going to try to make it go viral on TikTok somehow.
Okay.
I'm in a different situation than a lot of younger people. Maybe people aren't younger, but people are trying to break into marketing now. I've been around so long in my market that people just know me. So I have an advantage that others don't. And I tell a lot of young people that want to start marketing your legal services, yes, digital is the way for you, because you probably can't afford to go on TV like Morgan does, come to my market and outspend everybody by 3 to 1. And you probably don't need to. You can, digital has lowered the barriers to entry. There are ways to do it.
You have a lot of lawyers, law firm owners that look up to you and want the level of brand that you've built. So what's the common denominator in the successful law firm owners that actually build a practice versus those that tend to struggle?
Right. I think a lot of it's timing, number one.
Okay.
And resources. Morgan's a perfect example. I've known John for decades, but nobody really knew him in DC. So he came to DC, and he's primarily on television and radio. And he's spending a lot of money that most people that want to do that don't have. But I come back to the web. I think the web is a less expensive way to break in and start to establish a brand that I've taken almost 40 years to establish. You might be able to do it in half that time.
A lot of law firm owners, I would say the majority of them, as you probably know, they just stay as experts of the law. And they kind of stay in this little bubble and they get good at doing casework and stuff. Can you bring yourself back to the moment the light switch turned on and you said, I'm going to build a business here. I'm not just going to become the best lawyer?
That just sort of happened. I started advertising in 1982 with a guy that I was associated with briefly. We advertised and we also worked cases. And once we got together and things really took off, management of the business required more and more of my time. And I think in my late 30s, early 40s, I realized I was a better businessman than I was a trial lawyer. And I was able to start growing, reinvesting the money we were making, and growing our practice. And it's worked out. It just really has.
So many PI firms, dabble in mass torts. Some go all in on mass torts. What's your belief around percentage of focus on, single event versus mass torts? What's been your kind of playbook there?
My model developed because a guy joined me for about 5 years who went on to become a national mass tort player. He wanted us to do that, but we didn't want to put our eggs in all of our eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
But I think unless one of two things happen, you've got endless money that you want to invest, or two, you're just a gambler.
Yeah.
You really need, like with any investment, you gotta vet it. You have to be conservative. It's probably about 20% of my practice. Started going to mass tort about 15 years ago. I become friends with a number, 6 or 7 law firms that I trust, and they know to work with me, you got to get to me early because I want to be in when the marketing expense is lower. So I designate how much I want to spend. I spend it, get my cases, and I move on. And but in terms of compensation, the multiples are incredible when it's successful. Far more than you see in single event work. Unless you have endless funds you want to invest, you gotta be cautious about what you do.
Obviously your advertising expertise as again, legendary in a lot of ways. There's also the leadership side. You've built an excellent team and you're not the one doing all the work. So therefore you are leading others to do the work, but mission, vision, values. How do you lead this legacy that you've created?
I guess I was always kind of a leader in my peer group, you know, because I'm short, always was short. To be noticed, I had to
Communicate well.
And I think I have pretty good social skills. I developed them, quite a bit along the journey of my life. You learn to lead on the job just by building a law firm and by trial and error.
Yep.
And I wasn't perfect, and I'm still not perfect. I also learned at an early age to lead by example. The successful generals in world history were on the front line with their men. So when I was a younger lawyer, there was nothing in my office I couldn't do or wouldn't do. I mean, I'd photocopy, I'd type, I'd talk to everybody and anybody. And you got to have good people, good lieutenants and captains below you. And they sort of self-identify themselves just by being on the job. And I'm at the point now where I'm sort of paying back.
Yes.
I'm paying forward, as they say.
Yep.
I like to help younger attorneys, help them be successful. And it's not always easy, really.
Yeah.
There's increasingly more competition, need I tell you.
This is the one and only Andy Bederman. So you got to look into what he's doing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.